Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining me today, I've got a very special guest. He is the number 4 ranked recruit in the high school NCAA class of 2021. He is one of the most versatile guys I've ever seen us rank. He's got pretty stellar times in every single stroke. He's got some deathly IMs as well. He is committed to swim for the University of Texas next year. Please welcome Tim Connery. Tim, how's it going, man?
Hey, Coleman. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to meet you, excited to talk with you for a little bit. We talked about your versatility. So I kind of want to start with that just from a swim nerd perspective. Do you have a favorite stroke?
Honestly, I think right now it's freestyle, but it kind of rotates probably every 3 months. There's times where, I'm feeling back or I'm feeling breast. But I think right now it's freestyle. And I'm having a really good time in practice doing some, mid-distance free work and focusing on that Tuna Fury. But so right now I think it's freestyle, but honestly throughout the year I go through all 4.
I feel like that is such a great place to be. That's where I'd want to be as a swimmer. We have so many specialists, but it is cool to see someone who is so well-rounded. Just to give our listeners some context, Tim's working with a solid base. He's got a 44.1 in the 100 free. He's 134.7 200 free. But then you go down the list and you're looking at 47.2 100 back, 53.1 100 breast, 46.7 100 fly, and a 144.0 2 IM to round it out. Tell me about your swimming routes. You must have a solid technique base. You're on SwimMAC now. Were you always on SwimMAC?
No, so I ended up coming to SwimMAC around, I think I was 13 years old. So I wasn't always with them from the start. But yeah, I came over when I was about 13.
Okay. And so when did you start swimming, and where do you feel like you got this well-rounded base from?
Yeah, so I started swimming summer league when I was about 7. My brother was a swimmer, and he kind of got me into it. He's 2 years older than me, and so he got me into it, and that kind of, ever since that first season, my love of swimming kind of took off from there, and I knew I always wanted to do it. And then, so when I first came over to SwimMAC, in that group, one of the main priorities was for every swimmer to be able to do a good 400 IM. And that was kind of like a really big base. And, as a 13-year-old thinking 400 IM, that's a pretty big event, you're kind of looking at that with wide eyes right there. And I think we really focused on, not, even though you may be good at, let's say you're good at back, we really focused on not only focusing on that, and, being open to all 4 strokes, and really, focusing on everyone like it's your best. And I think that's what really kept me open-minded, because coming into before MAC, I think I was mainly focused on back, and just coming over and working on all 4 all the time, and really being open-minded. I think that's what kind of gave me a super good base, and kind of put me in the spot where I am right now.
That's really cool to hear. I don't feel like a whole lot of kids get that, especially as younger swimmers get that open-mindedness of, hey, they can all be your best.
Yeah. I think that was super big, kind of just for me to buy into as well, because that I'm super thankful that I kind of stayed open-minded towards everything, just because things, you go through phases of what you like swimming here, and it's always kind of nice to have like a backup and something new to do.
Absolutely. I mean, as you're saying this, I'm just thinking in my mind, like, you have the greatest IMers, Phelps, Lochte, Laszlo Che, you name it, Katinka Hozu, Maya Dorado.
Mhm.
It's like they all have their best stroke. I don't know if I've ever heard a swimmer say, well, my best stroke could be any stroke on any given day. And
Yeah.
that's kind of it's a special kind of versatility that's really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah, because again, like you said, if one stroke's not feeling it, you can just go race
Exactly.
something else and be fine.
Hmm. Yeah. That's always a really nice thing to have in practice. Like start swimming back and realize I'm not feeling it. And then, go to breast and do some breast that day. So that's always been my focus, kind of just being open-minded, cycle all four, and really, really just stay open-minded to it.
Who was your coach during those 13-year-old days when who was preaching this versatility to you?
Sarah Holman. So
Okay.
yeah, that was a great group that we had. We had a ton of fast people come out of it. We all got a really good base then. And I'm super thankful for those, 13, 14 years, really just working everything.
Yeah. Sarah Holman. I'll have to maybe send her an email, get her on the
Yeah,
podcast. That
yeah, of course.
sounds pretty cool. And obviously SwimMAC has had some great swimmers, great IMers come out of it. I mean, like Michael Chadwick, Kathleen Baker kind of come to mind immediately. But so tell me about your group now at SwimMAC and the kids you're training with, your coaches, and the kind of stuff you're doing.
Yeah, so we have a really great group right now. Every single day the guys come in and they want the best out of me. I want the best out of them. And somebody's always coming into practice one day, and everyone wants to win. It's honestly a great group. Mainly the probably three biggest guys that I race is Baylor Nelson, Logan Zucker, and Cam Abakita. Those three, they're all in the class below me,
Okay.
and they work very hard, especially in when we're doing we do a lot of typically mid D free.
Okay.
We typically do a lot of yards in practice, and so really when we're doing mid D free, Logan Zucker and Baylor Nelson are always there, and so they having both of them, to practice with every single day. It really makes me I can't slack off, because if I'm slacking off, I know they're going to be beating me, and I know they're going to be making fun of me for it. So it's everybody in the group as well. Big credit to them for working hard every day, and bringing out the best in everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a fun group. I'm looking at you guys' inter squad results right now as we're talking. Obviously, seems like Cam, Logan have both done great. Baylor Nelson, he's the number 2 recruit in the high school class of 2022. So all three of these guys seem on par, seem legit.
It's great having them.
Were you around SwimMAC when Team Elite was there at all?
So I was around, but I was kind of too young to start practicing with them. I'm friends with a few people who in high school would go practice with them, a few days a week. And I think that was really cool. That was a really cool experience for them. But right when I turned about starting getting old enough to where I could go to Team Elite, that's kind of when things when they kind of fizzled apart and became their own program. So I never really got to experience Team Elite really. So yeah.
So tell me about the role models you did have coming up through SwimMAC. Who were some of the older kids that you were looking up to? Was how did they influence you to become the senior that you are today?
Yeah, so I first came to the senior group when I was in 8th grade, and it seems like it was just yesterday, but all those guys, we probably had a senior class the next year. My first year in high school, the senior class probably was about 6 or 7 guys. And every single one of them, you know, they were all great swimmers. And just being around them on a daily basis and, you know, seeing how they worked and seeing how they acted to get to the spot where they were, that really, you know, influenced me on, you know, becoming a better swimmer, becoming a better person. And just being around them kind of taught me, you know, what it's like to be a senior on a team and, you know, what it's like to lead, and set a really good example, because I was really blessed. All those seniors and all the kids like that were older than me, they were always super nice to me, even though I was like a little 8th grader on the team. So I'm definitely super blessed to have like teammates before me that were amazing, and set like a perfect example for me.
Nice. That sounds like a great group to be a part of.
Yeah, it was. I think back to, you know, my group from like 2017, and I really miss it just because we were really close too. And it's cool seeing, you know, those kids and, you know, what they're doing now, and you know, thinking back to what they did when they were seniors, and it helps me out.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. So you know, this is your senior year. Obviously, end of junior year was a weird one for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about kind of what did you have a meet like Minnie did right before quarantine? Did you have like high school state?
So in North Carolina, high school state isn't like a big taper meet really.
Okay.
It's not like as serious as some other states take it. I know our team, we've never tapered for high school state. I think a few other teams do sometimes. But so we all got to swim high school state. And that was kind of just like maybe 2-3 days rest, and then put on a suit and race. Nothing more than that. So we did get to you know, experience some sort of racing, but nothing really. And then, you know, I ended up getting sick like right near the end of the season. And the rest of our team did like a full taper meet. But I got really sick like right at the start of that. So I never got to do like an end of season taper meet kind of. But so yeah, most people on our team ended up getting to do like a full meet. So we were pretty thankful about that, right before things kind of closed down in North Carolina.
Gotcha. And so then for you specifically, take me through those months of, you know, were you out of the pool for a long time? What were you doing during that period? When were you able to get back in?
Yeah, so it was kind of weird because, you know, things like slowly started getting canceled. Like you'd see like sports getting canceled, and, you know, everything like that. And it seemed like the biggest news ever. And then one day we got an email and said like we wouldn't have team practice the following week, but the pool is still going to be open. So there were a few of us that would go in and, you know, do our own workouts, but none of us really knew what was going to happen. It was we would like be asking the lifeguards at the pool as well, like if they knew it was going to happen, but it was super, nobody knew it was going to happen. And then I think the following week, after like a week of practicing by ourselves at the pool closed down. And then, so I was thankful enough to know somebody who has an endless pool. And so I was able to, I think 3 times a week, go practice there. And I mean, it's kind of limited what you can do in the endless pool, but at the same time, it's still swimming. So I could get some technique work in and, you know, keep the feel for the water. So I did that for probably 2 months. I think we ended up coming back to regular practicing like super late May, maybe. Yeah, I think so. So there was a solid 2 months where we had no team practice whatsoever.
Gotcha. And so were you supplementing that? Obviously you had the 3 days a week in the endless pool. Were you doing anything else to stay active or fit?
Yeah, I was doing some, I have some weights at my house. So I was lifting weights at my house, doing a lot of core work and just staying fit on land and doing the best I could there.
Gotcha. Nice. So you were able to make it work. And then you got in late May. Tell me about getting back in the water.
yeah, even though I was, swimming in an endless pool, it's still really weird coming back. We had to come back, and it was like you would go one person for every other lane, and like lanes would like start at like different sides of the pool. And so it was super weird, coming back from typically going like 5 to a lane to going 1 to a lane, and not having somebody to either side of you. But I think we did really good at, coming back and not doing anything too hard right away. And really focusing on technique, and, because we had all been out for 2 months, and that's probably the longest, most of us have taken off in, I don't know, like 7 years probably. So, coming back and really focusing on technique, I think that's helping a lot of us out this season. And with practice now, just getting a really good base, because, we didn't really get into anything hard for a good bit. But I mean, I think that was really important. And I think that really helped us all out, because we focused on, underwaters and technique, and like, just all that stuff that, is super important, that it's kind of forgotten about in like a hard practice, or something like that. So that, I think that was our main focus coming back.
Nice. I mean, like you said, it seems like this was a good thing in some ways for a lot of people, because it allowed them to ease back in, focus on technique. And, swimming's a grind, like we all know. And when you're going long practices all the time, it's hard to get that technique, that underwater work, that those small changes or, finesse details down. So how do you, where are you now? Are you guys back in the grind of things? Are you on a normal schedule? What's going on?
So I think we're almost on a normal schedule. We may have lost like an hour or two for the whole week, maybe. But we have doubles 2 days a week. And we're getting good 2-hour practices in. So our pool space is pretty good right now as well. And so right now, I mean, we're kind of just grinding it out. We're not really coming down for another meet until, December. So it's kind of from now until December, it's kind of just hunker down and, do some really good work, and, see what we can do. So right now it's kind of starting to turn up, and, we're adding yards by the week, and, things are getting harder and harder and harder. But it's, things are starting to look like they were, last year, when that's a really good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, just congratulations that they are. That's really cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So you guys had an inter squad in mid-September, and was that your first time racing since quarantine?
I believe so. That was my first time, like, off the blocks, and kind of in like a real meet setting. Before that, we've done like, I think one time before that we did like an in practice thing, but we couldn't use blocks, and like we raced, but by no means was it like mimicked the meet or anything. It kind of seemed like we were going fast in practice. But yeah, so that mid-September meet was like probably my first, effort off the block since February. So it felt really good, but at the same time pretty weird, just because, the thing that, we do all the time, we weren't doing. So yeah.
Definitely. And let's give a little more context, dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
You dropped a 47.9 fly. You dropped a 136.7 200 free, which are sensational times. And those aren't even close to your best times, which speaks to the level of swimmer that you are. Just makes me laugh a little bit, because those are legit times. So tell me about how racing felt for the first time. Did you have goals heading into that at all?
So I kind of came into it open-minded, because honestly, I had no idea how I was going to do. I didn't know where I was like with my endurance. So I knew I swam 100 free and 100 fly. And I knew those were I knew I was going to be somewhere around my best time on those, just because, hundreds kind of just go fast. There isn't really, I don't really have that big of a plan to my hundreds, but I was honestly pretty nervous for my 200 because that's kind of started to turn into like one of my main focus events. After not doing it, I think the last time I did it was December. So after not doing it since December, and coming in and, not knowing where my endurance was, I was definitely open-minded. And I was definitely thankful, with the time that I went, and pretty pleased about that. But yeah, I kind of just had to come into it open-minded and know, the context of where I was, how I hadn't done it in, several, maybe probably 9 months. So yeah.
That is surprising. That's a long time to go without a 200 freestyle.
Yeah. And 200 free is definitely one of the harder ones where, you got to have a plan for it. And so I was definitely really nervous coming into it, kind of thinking, what was I going to put up? And so I'm pretty thankful how it went.
Yeah. Did you have a plan going in for that particular race?
I mean, the plan wasn't any different from how I've previously done it. I kind of just wanted to swim it, how I always do. And if my back half was going to be slow, because, I didn't have the endurance that I needed, then I would know that. But it ended up going as, my plan as I kind of thought out in my head. So that was pretty pleasing to see that as well, knowing that my endurance isn't that bad right now.
Nice. So, what does a typical practice for you guys look like? You said you guys churn out some yardage.
Yeah.
Have you had a favorite set in the last couple months that you've done, or a good practice, or, a good battle between you and Baylor and Logan and Cam?
I think so. One of my favorite sets, we do this, it reoccurs, where it's like a 100, 200, 300, 400, and then 400, 300, 200, 100. And on the way up, we go 100 moderate, 200 fast, 300 moderate, 400 fast. And then the way back down is, 400 moderate, 300 fast, 200 moderate, 100 fast. And there have been a few times where we've gone like up and down that. And that's always really fun because, us three or four, we really get into it, and just like racing, those 400s and 300s, like it's super hard, but when you have guys, going super hard, it almost makes it fun. And nobody wants to lose. So we end up putting up some really fast times in those. And it's, in the moment, it kind of sucks, but after, we can always, us four, look back at it and smile and know that we worked really hard. So a lot of those like mid D free sets, I think are, as a group, our best sets, just because we all, we're all pretty close in that. And, racing is just a ton of fun with them.
What are the best times that you throw down on that set?
I gotta think. I think we recently did it in the 400. I think in the 400 I was a 336 maybe. And then I think in the 300 I may have been like a 240. But yeah, so they're a ton of fun doing those.
Nice. That's some solid speed. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So you put in the work. Like we said, you're a number 4 recruit for this senior class of 2021. You had at one point verbally committed to Michigan. You recently switched your verbal commitment to Texas, which I think, we've seen become more and more common as recruiting has gone younger. I think for a lot of these top athletes, you're kind of expected to commit as a junior in high school. And that's, 2 years before you even touch campus. So give me a little bit of context on this decision as a whole and your recruiting process.
Yeah. So, I mean, my mind is kind of exactly what you were saying. I think honestly, the recruiting process, it's gotten a ton earlier. And I think, going through it, you kind of have this feeling like, you see all your peers start to commit, and then, you want to as well. And, looking back on it, I started to have this gut feeling that I may have committed too early. And, I may have not been, 100% on my decision. And, I went back, revisited it, and just kind of just had a gut feeling that, I wasn't exactly where I would be, happy. And I think at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Tons of respect to, coaches Mike Bottom, and, all the staff over there. They were nothing but great, but at the end of the day, I don't even know what it was. I just think it was all came super early. And at the start of that process, I almost felt like I had to commit, just because my peers started to commit. And I think that's what it comes down to.
I think, you said it best. It's a gut feeling. For anyone who's ever had to decide, a college or what's a good fit, there's a lot of factors that go into that. And again, it comes down to where you think you are going to be the most happiest. It's not about,
Exactly, yeah.
well, I think this school is better than this school at this, that, and the other thing. It's about what's going to be the best fit for you.
Yeah. I've some great friends at Texas, people that I get along with, and at the end of the day, I felt super comfortable there. I felt like I was, around great people there. And it was just a feeling that I kind of knew, I knew what I had to do.
Yeah. And so, and congratulations for following your gut and for doing it.
Thank you.
Obviously, how excited were you when you saw, did you see the results from their inner squad just a week or two ago?
Yeah, I love seeing those. They lit it up, and I can't wait to be swimming there next year and participate in meets like that, because I feel like everybody, always comes in and just goes crazy fast times. So I can't wait to be a part of it.
I don't understand how they do it every year.
Yeah, neither do I.
Maybe I'll get you to tell me the secrets, even though I'm there at that meet every year. And I'm just amazed. I get my mind blown every time by Eddie and Wyatt, and I
know,
and how fast everyone goes.
I know. Just seeing what they do, at those inter squad meets, and every single meet is just kind of mind boggling, and just thinking about it is super exciting to be a part of it and do that next year. So
nice. Well, so to wrap up our conversation, so heading into your senior year, in the next couple of months, like you said, you're not tapering till December. What are your short-term goals for just moving forward in the next couple weeks, couple months?
Honestly, it's just taking it one day at a time. And, every single day, just focusing on, having the best practice I could possibly have. Because I know when, December comes around and starting to taper, I'll be mentally, super prepared if I can look back on these next 2 months and know, every single day coming into practice, I gave it my all. And just honestly, right now, it's just a day-to-day thing. And that's kind of all my focus is at right now. And I mean, sometimes that's a little bit tough because, you come in, you see like a crazy big set or, something like that. And it's definitely tough at times, but I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. All right. Last question. Your favorite meet experience you've had in your career so far?
Favorite meet experience. Ooh, that's tough. I think it was probably last December in Atlanta at Winter Juniors. Just because we had a great team there. We had great relays. also because, you know, I was in Atlanta, I could have my family there as well. So, you know, I had my grandparents there. I had my parents, and just swimming in front of them was amazing. And, you know, seeing them, you know, after my races was, you know, something I'll remember for the rest of my life. And just, Atlanta, that pool is probably my favorite pool as well, to swim at. And so it was just everything about that meet, was a great time.
That is a great pool. I agree.
Yeah. I love that pool. I've been swimming at since I was like my first meet, maybe 11 or 12. And ever since then, I kind of fell in love with it.
Oh, nice. Is that drivable for you?
Yeah, it's about 4 hours, so it's not bad at all.
Nice. Well, Tim, thank you so much for taking the time after your very busy day today to sit down this evening and talk with me. It was awesome getting to spend some time with you.
Yeah. Thank you for, you know, having me on, and it was great meeting you and talking.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.